There are a lot of NES games people talk about all the time, but there are also games that millions of us played and somehow nobody ever really stopped to document why they mattered. Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers is one of those games. I know I'm not the only one who loved renting this game back in the day. For a lot of us, that connection started before we ever played it with the Disney afternoon. DuckTales, Darkwing Duck, and Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers weren't just cartoons, they were part of growing up. You planned your day around them, so when Rescue Rangers showed up on the rental shelf, it didn't feel just like another NES game, it felt familiar, like something you already knew. And that familiarity is a big reason the game stuck with so many people, including me. There's real history here, one that rarely gets talked about. And that's what I want to explore, including my personal memories. Aloha, my name is Mike. I'm a Hawaiian gamer and a former US Navy Seabee veteran. On this channel, we cover games from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, blending personal memories with the history behind the games that shaped us. I'm your storyteller and guide through the gaming wasteland. So grab a crate or maybe a giant apple and let's hit the throttle to the gaming wasteland. I remember spending the night at my best friend Kevin's house. And if you watched this channel for a while now, you've heard me mention Kevin before. He was the friend I traded games with, swapped consoles with, and spent countless hours gaming alongside. He didn't own Rescue Rangers at first, but one weekend we made that sacred trip to the video rental store and brought this game home with us. And almost immediately, we knew this wasn't a one-and-done rental. This was the kind of game you talked about afterward, the kind that stuck with you. What really stands out to me from those early playthroughs was the co-op chaos. You could pick each other up, carry your partner around, and throw them at enemies. And of course, as kids, that was hilarious. Tossing your friend instead of helping them was half the fun. The problem was, those shenanigans meant we never beat the game. You only had a limited number of continues, and once they were gone, that was it. Thankfully, Rescue Rangers wasn't brutally difficult. I've always appreciated that the developers didn't punish kids with the kind of extreme difficulty some NES games were known for. Games like Ninja Gaiden. It wasn't later until things finally clicked. I remember Kevin laying on his pillow facing the CRT TV, watching as I pushed further than we had ever been before. That was the first time I reached the final level. I didn't beat Fat Cat on that attempt, but we learned his patterns, and that changed everything. Kevin wanted his shot, and I knew he was good. This was the same friend who helped me get all the way to Dracula in Castlevania II Simon's Quest. And anyone who's played that game knows the hardest part isn't the fight itself, it's figuring out how to even get there. He did the same thing later on with Super Mario World. Kevin played through the game and helped me reach Bowser. And while the fight itself isn't especially hard, getting there is a real challenge. So when Kevin reached Fat Cat, I honestly thought he might pull it off. Things got hectic fast. Kevin took a few hits trying to keep the pressure on, and he came incredibly close to beating him, but rushing the fight ended up being the mistake. He went to grab the ball, launched it too quickly, and sent it off to the side. That split second of frustration was all it took. One of Fat Cat's cigar ashes drifted down, hit Dale, and just like that, it was over. At that point, we made a decision. No more messing around. No more throwing each other into danger. If we were going to beat this game, we had to play it seriously. Playing two-player was harder than it looked. Tossing crates could accidentally hit your partner, and picking them up at the wrong time could send them straight into trouble. Solo play felt easier, but beating it together meant more. After carefully managing our final run, we made it back to Fat Cat. It was around 3 a.m. We were out of continues. That was it. Kevin managed to stay alive just long enough to land a final hit. We had beaten it, and that was it. It was late, we were exhausted, and we shut the system off and went to bed. But that night stuck with us. For Kevin, it was the moment the game stopped being just a rental and became something he wanted to own. Not long after, he got his own copy for his birthday. And years later, when I got out of the Navy and started building my own NES collection. And after getting married, Rescue Rangers was one of the games I made sure to track down for myself. One of those things that's always stuck with me was the TV commercial for the game. Even back then, you can tell it was aimed at younger kids.
In our test center, world-renowned experts play Disney's new Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers game from Capcom. Here's what they say.
Way cool. Definitely rad.
You'll help Chip 'n Dale escape their enemies and rescue their good friend Gadget.
Definitely awesome. Alright. Absolutely nuts. Ouch.
Play Disney's Rescue Rangers game for Nintendo by Capcom. Also, look for adventures in the Magic Kingdom.
Yes! It's hot.
Kevin and I were already a little past that age bracket, but it didn't matter. The game still spoke to us. It still felt fun, inviting, and worth playing. And that raises an interesting question. How did a licensed Disney cartoon game on the NES turn out this good? To answer that, we have to step back to 1990 and look at the partnership between Capcom and Disney that made it possible. Released in 1990, Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers went on to become a commercial success, selling around 1.2 million copies worldwide. It wasn't just popular at the time, it remained a beloved NES classic decades later, especially among players who grew up with the Disney afternoon.
That's it for today's Rescue Rangers show, but get set for more adventure on the Disney afternoon.
It is the late 1980s. Capcom entered into a licensing partnership with Disney to develop video games based on Disney's animated properties. After Capcom's first self-developed Disney title, DuckTales, proved to be a major success, Rescue Rangers was chosen as the next project, capitalizing on the cartoon's popularity during the Disney afternoon television block. Capcom's goal was to create a game that captured the charm of the show while still meeting Disney's family-friendly standards. On Disney's side, producer Darlene Lacey oversaw the project, but Capcom's team already had a strong understanding of the characters and tone. As a result, Rescue Rangers required very few revisions, allowing development to move smoothly, something that was rare for licensed games at the time. When Capcom built Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers for the NES, they didn't treat it like a throwaway license game. They assigned some of their strongest talent from the late 1980s to the project. The game was produced by Takuro Fujiwara, a Capcom veteran who had already been instrumental on hits like Ghosts 'n Goblins and Mega Man 2. Fujiwara understood how to balance challenge, personality, and accessibility, something that mattered a lot for a family-friendly Disney game. The game's levels and mechanics were shaped by Masayoshi Kurokawa, who had previously worked on Capcom's successful DuckTales adaptation. That experience shows how Rescue Rangers feels approachable without being careless, and playful without feeling shallow. And the music, that cheerful, catchy soundtrack that underscored every level, was composed by Harumi Fujita, one of Capcom's standout composers during the NES era. She had already worked on games like Bionic Commando, and her style was perfect for a game like this. Upbeat, memorable, and supportive of the action, without ever becoming overwhelming. Together, this team didn't just make a game that looked like Rescue Rangers, they made one that felt right to play. And when you look at everything that went into this game, the people behind it, the design choices, and the care taken with a licensed property, it makes sense why Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers has stuck around for so long. This wasn't a game built to frustrate players. It wasn't designed to be punishing or overwhelming. It was designed to be welcoming. It respected the cartoon, respected the players, and respected the idea that games could be fun together. In an era where a lot of licensed games were rushed or forgettable, Rescue Rangers stood out, not because it tried to be something it wasn't, but because it fully understood what it was. Looking back now, it's easy to see why this game meant so much to me. Sometimes all they needed was a good idea, the right team, and someone sitting next to you on the floor holding a controller. That's why Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers still matters. Before we wrap up, I want to take a moment to thank my channel members. The Retro Warrior Knights, Mr. Postal, Retro Man Randy Savage, Mike's Gaming Gala, and Off Grid Arcade. I especially want to send my thoughts and prayers to Retro Man Randy Savage and his wife. They are going through a difficult time right now. Wishing you strength and healing. You're in my thoughts. And thank you to everyone watching, especially those of you who watched and commented on my Super Mario Land Trilogy video. The support and thoughtful comments meant more than you probably realize. These longer documentary style videos take a lot of time and energy to make, but moments like that remind me why I do this. Take care and remember, gaming is your road to adventure.